The Vision High School Sports Beat is brought to you by the 12 locally owned dealerships of the Vision Automotive Group, offering Buick, GMC, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Hyundai, Kia, and Nissan. Check out all the selection at any location online at visionauto.com. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. We begin this week in Hilton, where the boys lacrosse team is getting noticed, but seems to come up a little short. 1-point losses are tough, but in the words of Coach Don Shula, the worst defeats can lead to the greatest triumphs.
Defense, we're going to start right out in Delta, all right? Let's throw a little Delta at them for the moment. Let's go! 1, 2, 3, go! Let's go! Yes, sir.
They say you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, the same can be said about some teams. Case in point, Hilton Lacrosse. In the first 5 games, they only picked up 1 win. Not exactly what you might call a great run. But when you consider the fact that all 4 of those losses came by just 1 goal, this book might be worth a closer look.
You guys got another one out there? Oh, what was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we specialize in the 1-goal losses right now. We're in a different spot than we've been in the past. We have a lot of talent on this team, offensively, defensively, and I guess specifically on offense. There's not a guy I can put out there that I don't think can beat his man. And so we're adjusting from being a team that has to fight to try to get into a game to all of a sudden being up on big teams and freaking out because we are afraid we're going to lose sometimes. So it's a big adjustment. And to that 15 to 18-year-old brain, I mean, these guys, they work their tails off, and we're just making those minor adjustments every day. And they're getting to where they need to be. So I'm excited towards the end of the season. And, you know, from here on out, every week is going to get better and better.
I think it's just going to take one of those games like being Victor on Tuesday or something that's going to get us over the edge, and then we know that we can finish through a whole game. We just have to finish one whole game, and then that's what's going to get us over the edge.
Is it one of those deals, is it frustrating, or is it like, man, we're right there? Is it encouraging?
I'd say it's pretty encouraging because we know we're right there, and we just got to, some things will fix up, and then we're right there, and we know we can play with everyone else.
So what will it take to turn those close losses into hard-fought wins? Not much. Defeats like those don't help the record, but they can lay the foundation for better things to come.
I really think that they're at that point now. I think we've jumped that hurdle, and they're on the other side of it. They know that they're a great team. They're looking forward to playing the teams that we've lost to again in sectionals. You know, we have a ton of respect for Fairport, for Penfield, for all Pittsford, all the teams in our class. But now we got those lumps out of the way, and these guys are just chomping at the bits to get back at it.
I know, I mean, we're hanging with these big school teams. I mean, Penfield, Fairport, these teams have been powerhouses for years. I mean, we can hang with them, we just got to finish out our games.
Another reason the Cadets have to be optimistic, players like Sean. His role on the team can't be overlooked or underappreciated.
Sean Dorn is our main FOGO right now, our face-off guy, and he's at about 76% success at the face-off X, and I think he's the best face-off man in Section 5, quite honestly. So he's somebody that we know, if we score, if the other team scores, we're getting the ball back. So that's huge.
I mean, yeah, more times you get the ball is more percentage you can score. So, I mean, if you get the ball every time, technically you could hold a game the entire time without losing a face-off. I mean, so we're just out here trying to get better every day and keep possession for our team so we can keep on scoring more and more.
And the guy they look to when they want to get that scoring done, well, that's Jordan. Earlier this year, he tallied goal number 100 for his career, a great milestone, but one that is just part of the bigger picture. 100 goals for you in a career when you got that earlier this year. Talk a little bit about that, what an achievement that was for you.
Oh, it was pretty awesome, but I mean, I just do it just so we can win the games. That's all that matters to me, is all my teammates help me out and everything, and all my families are friends. So, yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool to get, but honestly, the most important thing for us is just to win.
And he's just somebody I know is going to make right decisions. If I tell him one thing once, he's doing it. It takes a lot of pressure off. I don't worry. When the ball's in his stick, I trust what's going to happen. So it's a relief a lot of the time just having a guy like that, for sure.
The Cadets have been able to handle the adversity and at the same time feel prepared for better things to come because they've grown up together on the lacrosse field, making them more than just teammates.
Yeah, I think it's the close-knit that we are all friends, like in school and out of school, and that like we have grown up since 5th and 6th grade playing together, being together, so like we really know like what was going through each other's heads.
These losses might make for a tough start to the season, but they might also make for some tough times for their opponents later on this spring.
I think it's good that it's happening early season because it brings some things out that we can work on for the rest of the year. If we won those games and we get to postseason and all of a sudden now baggage comes out, it's too late to change anything. So these guys know that and we've talked through it a lot. I think we've spent more time on that than actually the lacrosse aspect.
Attack, you guys should be on the end line except for 2 of you. Our recoveries have been slow. So, well, let me see the ball. I'll throw it right in. We'll do 2 and then switch everybody.
Now, the Cadets started 1-4, but in those 5 games, they outscored their opponents 46-40. Coming up, we're talking Section 5 baseball with Paul Gotham in the Dunkin' Donuts High School Notebook. All that and more when the Vision High School Sports Beat returns.
Boom.
Go-getters, get 2 with Dunkin' Go-Tos.
Boom.
2 sandwiches for $2, $3, or $5. America runs on Dunkin'.
And welcome back. Once again, it is time for the Dunkin' Donuts High School Notebook. America runs on Dunkin'. Joining us now is Paul Gotham from PickandSplinters.com. All right, Paul, welcome back once again. Was on your site last week. A lot of stuff there. Despite the weather, you're still managing to go out and get some games in. Huh?
It's funny. It is a struggle to get games, as the teams will well attest. We'll start seeing standings up on the site, and we'll have a few stats and the schedule from day to day, although that schedule is pretty much being wiped out on a regular basis. Good to see teams getting some games in, though. Those 3 games last week certainly highlighted by Penfield's win over Rush Henrietta 2-1 over at Towers Field at the U of R was a great way to spend a week.
Talk about some of the games or some of the teams rather, that are really jumping out at you early on, and granted, not a lot of action to base this on, but what are some of the teams that are really jumping out for you?
No surprise here, but McQuaid's leading the Rush. Now, McQuaid does have the advantage of playing a few games down south in a couple of different ways, so they're 7-1, which is amazing because Brighton is 0-0 right now. As of right now, Brighton has not played a game. But McQuaid 7-1. Interestingly enough, they were able to play a turf game here in Section 5 against Aquinas, and then when the rest of us were bracing for an ice storm, they went down to Corning and got in a game. So it's worked for them. A lot of the guys have returned to that lineup. You got guys like Ben Beauchamp, you got Tyler Griggs, you got Eric Johnson. All those guys have returned. Noah Campanelli, though, has given a lot of production at the plate for that McQuaid team. It'll be interesting to see, because a team like Victor, who is snake bitten by McQuaid, if we go back and remember last May, Victor had a big lead early on McQuaid and then fell in the quarterfinals. A lot of guys back from that Victor squad. Andrew Westbrook, Nate Hampson, Santino Rosso. It'll be interesting to see how those young men carry over those memories from last year, because let's face it, McQuaid had to rally to beat Victor and then had a dramatic victory over Rush Henrietta in the finals in extra innings. So it wasn't like McQuaid blew everyone away last year. So it'll make for a very interesting run with AA. Webster Schrader starts off 3-0. The Warriors were #1 in the state for a bunch of weeks last year. They lose Shane Marshall, they lose Phil Ferrante. They're two big producers at the plate, and they're right back and being successful again, so don't be surprised if they're in the run for things.
How about some of the other classes? What are some of the schools that you see there?
A little bit of a surprise here, but Irondequoit jumped out and won 3 straight games last week. Their pitching allowed 1 run over 3 games, which is interesting. Tim Mabb there in his 31st season with the Eagles, having a good start to the season for them, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for them. Athena is a young squad with a lot of good players. Don't forget about the Trojans.
All right, well, hopefully the weather's going to cooperate in the near future. We'll get to see some more baseball. Paul, thanks once again for joining you. Always a pleasure. PickandSplinters.com. Make sure to check it out. This has been the Dunkin' Donuts High School Notebook. Coming up next, the Wegmans Making the Grade nominee with Kim. And later on, Spencerport's Vanessa Watson making a name for herself on the track. We've got that and more when the Vision High School Sports Beat returns.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back, and thanks for watching the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Kim Burnson. It's time now for Making the Grade, brought to you by Wegmans. Wegmans is a proud supporter of Making the Grade, which highlights the accomplishments of Section 5 student athletes on and off the playing field.
This week's Making the Grade honoree is Asha Charles of Churchville Chili. Asha is a junior and was recently recognized by the Princeton Prize in Race Relations for her work with the Dignity for All Committee and the Rock to Change Summit. Asha has helped reduce the number of racial conflicts and misunderstandings, both at school and in the community, while serving in her role with the DASA group, Dignity for All Students Act. Asha is also a member of the Churchville Chili Saints track and field team, competing in the high jump. For all she does in the classroom and for being a community leader, Wegmans is proud to honor Asha Charles for making the grade.
If you have a student in mind for our Making the Grade segment, we want your nominations. You can send them in to info@classywolf.com. And now here's Dave with the Section 5 Spotlight.
Well, thanks, Kim. Here are some of the athletes, teams, and coaches making news in this week's Section 5 Spotlight. Congratulations to the East United Boys Lacrosse team for picking up their first win 22-3 over Batavia. The Eagles are the first city team to have varsity lacrosse since the 1970s. Wellsville baseball coach Dennis Miles notched his 706th victory, making him the all-time winningest skipper in Section 5 history. Miles has 42 years with Wellsville and 12 Section 5 titles to go along with all those W's. Tyler Ranke, a senior at UAlbany and graduate of Hilton, was named America East Conference Track and Field Performer of the Week for setting a conference best time in the 3,000-meter steeplechase at the San Francisco State Distance Carnival. The Royal Comets girls lacrosse team handed Canandaigua with their first loss with a 9-8 win in overtime. RH's Gabby Garrett won the game with her third goal with just 6 seconds left in the extra session. Well, up next, we're going to visit with Vanessa Watson of Spencerport. We've got that story when the Vision High School Sports Beat continues. The Vision High School Sports Beat is brought to you by the 12 locally owned dealerships of the Vision Automotive Group, offering Buick, GMC, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Hyundai, Kia, and Nissan. Check out all the selection at any location online at visionauto.com. Welcome back, and thanks once again for joining us on the Vision High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. For the last few years, the name Watson and track have been synonymous. But now that Rush Henrietta's Sammy Watson has taken her talents to Texas A&M, it's another Watson that has taken Section 5 by storm.
There's a familiar name atop of Section 5 Track and Field's leaderboard this year, and it's not the Watson you're thinking of. Vanessa Watson is a junior at Spencerport, and during the just completed indoor season, won the state championship in the 600. I had a chance to talk with Spencerport coach Michelle Marasco and Vanessa during practice this week. I'm Tariq Spence here with Vanessa Watson from Spencerport High School track and field star. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good. I wish the weather was better. I know right now it's very hard with all of this snow and rain out here trying to practice for an outdoor event indoors. How have you remained focused?
I mean, I'm honestly starting to take this weather a little personal, but you have to do what you have to do. So just working hard no matter what.
Now, for you, you've set up a lot of goals. You're one of those that sits down, writes down goals, or types out goals. Do you write them out, print them out, and you see them, or you keep them on your phone or as a constant reminder to where you want to be and improve?
Well, I like to have them on my phone because I like to have them on me at all times, so I can just kind of look whenever I want. But I like to kind of make like a little vision board. It's something new that I've been starting to do every season so that I'm able to see it as well.
She's pretty driven. It's got to be a dream for a coach to have a player that's just self-motivated.
Absolutely. I think it's, I help her along the way. Mm-hmm. She definitely drives her ship. So I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Vanessa is a bit of a perfectionist and always striving to be the best. But sometimes things don't work out as you plan, and dealing with disappointment and using it as motivation is the mark of a champion. Talk a little bit about this. A few years back, you were really upset. You think you didn't perform as well at a competition. How did you go from that moment to becoming nationally ranked #1? What was the vision and focus? Go back there to propel you here.
Well, you just kind of have to use it as fuel, I had faith in myself and I knew that I could do it, so I just kind of had to pick myself back up and work even harder.
What is the off-season like for you? I mean, do you play other sports or are you just strictly in the track? I know you like soccer and other things, but what do you mostly try to do?
I'm pretty much just training. It's all track during the off-season, all just focusing and getting ready for the real season to come in.
What does your coach have to say about where you've been and where you are now?
I mean, she's been really, really supportive, and I think that she's been very happy for me, and I'm very happy to have her along with me on the journey as well.
So, Coach, I mean, you've had Vanessa for a while now. Your thoughts on her progression?
She is remarkable. I think when I first asked her to come out on the varsity team, she was in 8th grade. And to put it in perspective, she said, I gotta think about it, Coach. I think I might want to play basketball. And now she's pretty much dedicated herself and her future to track, and I think someday we'll see her in the Olympics.
What about the extracurricular activity? Is this true about all the clubs and initiatives and fundraisers that you do? Is that true?
It is true. I try to be well-rounded, so I think it's been working out pretty good.
What is it? Is it Spanish Society Club? Are you in that or no?
Yeah, Spanish Honor Society.
Spanish Honor Society. What other clubs are you in right now?
There's that. There's our Dash to Change is our multicultural education movement. I'm the president of that. There's also Spanish Club, Multicultural Education Club, and National Honor Society, if you want to count that.
Black Scholar too?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you forgot Black Scholar? You gotta put Black Scholar in. It's pretty big. That's all right. That's a lot of stuff. How do you find time to do that, study and practice?
It's really just time management. That's where the kind of writing things down thing comes in again, is that you need to be able to plan things out so that you don't get too carried away and stressed out.
Do you ever think about where you want to be past 1 year, or do you just set your goals year at a time, month at a time, when it comes to sort of college or after college?
Right. Well, it's always good to plan ahead, but I definitely do kind of plan things out week by week.
What about your inspiration? Who inspires you to get better every single day?
I'm going to say my parents. They just work so hard to be able to see, what they come from, what they become. It's really inspiring and motivational for me, especially.
From Spencerport for the Vision High School Sports Beat, this is Tariq Spence.
Vanessa finished #1 in the nation on the indoor track for the 600-meter dash, and last summer as a sophomore, she finished 2nd in the U.S. Track and Field Junior Olympics in the 400-meter hurdles. Well, we'd like to thank our sponsors, especially the 12 dealerships in the Vision Automotive Group, for making the High School Sports Beat possible. I'm Dave Yates. We'll see you next week.